What's poppin', world? Y'all tapped in with the Head of the Game podcast. Yeah, once again, we got a controversial discussion we got to talk about. So without further ado, y'all read the title? Let's get into it. Let's start off with the origin, at least from my point of view, right? So I've been staying in my very first apartment for about 8 years strong, right? And I'm at the point to where, you know, if I were to move or anything dealing with a change as far as my lifestyle or my living situation, I'm kind of tapped out, maxed out of the rental game. I'm ready to be a part of the asset class, you know, own some property, gain some equity, you know, just being in that conversation of living the American dream and having housing ownership. And this is maybe within the next, 12 months, I'm looking into either buying my condo from who I'm renting from, or I might get a house or something like that, right? So this is just my insight. Now, mind you, disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. So this is just my point of view based off my research and things that I've looked up, you know, because I've been keeping a watchful eye over the housing market maybe over the last year and a half, right? So my whole thing is this would be my strategy if I was to buy a house, right? Or any kind of property. Not to get political, but because it's an election year and I feel like to make the election an even playing field instead of lopsided one side or the other, they're gonna cut interest rates, I feel like, to make it an even playing field when, I mean, a lot of arguments can be made that cutting interest rates right now would be a little bit too early just because of the way that inflation is kind of behaving. But they're really trying to get a handle on core inflation. I think the writing is on the wall as far as like just having one career and being able to support, you know, a 2-child and a wife off of one income, you know, based off of your career and stuff like that. I think those days are gone. I think the modern living, as far as approaching this housing market, is you gotta have 2 incomes or multiple streams of income, or maybe you're the top of your asset class, or not the asset class, but just the top of your occupation, right? But let me get to the point of this video. So because they're predicting 3 interest rate cuts. Now, I haven't done any research, so I'm just gonna give a guesstimate, right? So if it's 7% right now, and that's for good credit, you know, like 720. That means if you got like 650, 620, your interest rate might be up to 8, you know, closer to 8. So with that being said, there's a good and a bad thing, and it's all based on timing, right? So here are the scenarios, the 3 scenarios or the 3 outcomes that I feel like if you're buying a house within the next 12 to about 18 months, this is how I see it going, right? So the housing market right now, you can see it slowly but surely trending back up, you know, after the slowdown. And that's only because the prediction of things might be getting cut sooner than later. So if you were to buy a house right now in this high interest rate market, yes, you would be paying a higher interest rate, but what you will have on your side is the fact that you would be able to refinance on that house, right? So if you refinance and then the rates get cut, then that's gonna cause an effect for the property value to go up. Then because you started off at 7, you can refinance back down to like 6 or maybe like high 5s, you know, depending on how things carry over into next year. And you would be able to not only be able to have the favorable, I wouldn't say favorable, but have somewhat of a decent interest rate, the property value would go up, and then you would have equity. So that's case scenario number 1. Case scenario number 2 is you wait till they cut the interest rates, and right before it decides to get out of hand, maybe like 5 to 10 to 20%, maybe it only goes up 2 to 3%, and you're positioned to buy a house, I would say anywhere from late December all the way up to like early March, maybe like sometime around this year, right? That's how I feel like maybe 3 or 4 cuts is going to be done to the rates about that time, right? At that point, you would be risking for it to spike up, but it wouldn't be a dramatic spike up. Plus, you wouldn't have to have such a big down payment. You would be able to get into the game a little bit easier just because of the interest rates, right? And then it's the obvious scenario number 3, which is you wait till the rates is cut and you probably go into 2025, maybe midway 2025, and even though the housing is up and the interest rates are low, you're still gonna have to pay the same amount, only due to the fact that it's gonna level out. It's gonna correct itself. So that's probably like worst case scenario in my opinion, because I mean, who wants to pay more money on a house that was just, not that much a few months ago? But I got a bonus point, and I got something to think about for y'all to think about, honestly. What if, because they got the 30-year mortgage, right? What if, Congress or they passed a law, or they had expanded the 30 years to 40 years, right? And broke up the amount of the full cost of the house. Now, I get it. The longer that you bring something out, the higher the interest rate is gonna be, well, yeah, that's typically how it goes. The longer that you finance something out, the more interest you have to pay. Juxtaposed to if you were buying a house straight cash, there wouldn't be no interest because you got all the money, right? That's the luxury of having all cash, but then also the luxury of paying interest is that you don't have to have all cash if you don't have it, right, all thing in here. So yeah, if they did like a 40-year year mortgage, I think that would help out a lot of people. Now I get it. Who wants to sit up there and anticipate trying to pay down a house for 40 years? I mean, that's the next thing to renting, because it's like, yeah, I mean, but that's if you're doing the minimum payments. I mean, don't get me wrong, homeownership, it's nothing to downplay. Like I said, it's a part of the American dream. But I'm gonna leave it at that. I want to see what y'all think about just the forecast and the things that y'all seen this year. And leave your thoughts, comments below. With that being said, comment, like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm up out of here.